Students, I am Manoj Kundare, the Assistant Professor of Electronic Science. Welcome back to our e-learning platform. In previous video, we have seen the concept of the oscillator and the Bark-Hussein criteria. The link of the previous video is available in the description box. Please check it. Now, in this video, we are going to see the concept of the Wien-Bridge oscillator. Before going to see the Wien-Bridge oscillator, let's summarize our previous lecture in short. In previous video, we have seen the concept of what is an oscillator. In that video, we have seen the block diagram of the oscillator, in which the oscillator is generally an amplifier which has a positive feedback network and the oscillatory circuit. Okay, that means an oscillator is a circuit which produces continuous repeated alternating waveform without any input. That means the output of the oscillator is in this form. Okay, the oscillators basically converts unidirectional current flow from a DC source into alternating waveform which is of the desired frequency as decided by the circuit components. That means the amplifier or the oscillator has no special input signal here. Here the amplifier takes the DC supply and the output of this amplifier is AC output depends on this DC supply. This AC output is given to the feedback network having fraction beta and it is given to the oscillatory circuit here. Here the oscillatory circuit may be LC tune circuit or RC phase shift network. Okay. Now let's see the oscillatory circuit. Here the LC tune circuit or the tank circuit is shown, in which the basic principle behind the working of the oscillator can be understood by analyzing the behavior of LC tank circuit. Here in this LC tank circuit, it has an inductor and a pre-charged capacitor. That means in this LC tank circuit, the capacitor and inductor are connected parallelly with each other, where the capacitor is already charged here. Okay. Now let's see the working of LC tank circuit. Here at first the capacitor start discharge via inductor. That means if it has the polarity positive and the negative, then it start discharge through the inductor, which results in conversion of its electrical energy into the electromagnetic field which can be stored in the inductor. That means the capacitor discharges through inductor, but the inductor has or now stores become with the electromagnetic field. That means whenever the capacitor discharges through this inductor, the electromagnetic field is developed across this inductor. Okay, once the capacitor discharges completely, there will be no current flow in the circuit. That means when the capacitor discharges completely, the electromagnetic field is generated within this inductor, and after completely discharged, there is no current flow in the circuit. Then at this time, what happens? Here the condition occurs here that C discharges completely. Here the positive terminal of the capacitor and the negative terminal, and now the electromagnetic field is developed across this inductor. Now what happens? However, by then the stored electromagnetic field would have generated a back EMF which results in the flow of current through the circuit in the same direction as that of before. This current flow the circuit continues until the electromagnetic field collapse, which results in the back conversion of the electromagnetic energy into the electric form, causing the cycle to repeat. That means the electromagnetic energy stored in the inductor now discharges through the capacitor, and during this process the capacitor is again charged. Okay, however, now the capacitor would have charged with the opposite polarity. That means this terminal becomes positive, now this terminal becomes negative now, due to which one gets an oscillating waveform as the output. I hope you all understand the function here. Let's see once again. Here in this LC tune circuit, the capacitor is charged let's consider this is the positive polarity and this is the negative polarity. Here the capacitor discharges through the inductor. During this discharge, the electromagnetic field is developed across this inductor. When the capacitor is fully discharged, then no current flows through the circuit, but the electromagnetic field is developed across the inductor generates a back EMF. That means this point becomes negative, this point becomes positive, a back EMF is produced, and then the capacitor, this back EMF flows through the capacitor, which causes the charging of the capacitor. But the only difference is that there is now this terminal becomes positive and this terminal becomes negative. That means during capacitor charge discharge this cycle obtain, and during discharge this cycle obtained. Okay, I hope you all understand the basic function of the LC tank circuit. However, the oscillations which arise due to the interconversion between the two energy forms cannot continue forever, as they would subjected to the effect of energy loss due to resistance of the circuit. As a result, amplitude of these oscillations decreases steadily to become zero, which makes them damped in nature. This indicates that in order to obtain the oscillations which are continuous and constant in amplitude, one needs to compensate for the energy loss. That means here in the operation performs in two cycle. First of all, when the capacitor is charged, it supplies the energy to the indicator. Then the back EMF generated across the inductor supplies the energy to the capacitor, and the capacitor charges again this type of. Then again capacitor discharges through indicator. Then again back EMF charges the capacitor in this format. But due to the resistance offered, the energy continuously losses here. That means here we get this type of decaying waveform. Okay, if we get the some gain factor like the increasing gain, then we get this type of waveform. For that purpose we have to maintain a constant loss or a constant gain across the circuit to obtain this type of waveform. Okay, I hope you all understand this concept here. These three types of waveforms are shown here, in which this is the increasing type of waveform, this is decaying type of waveform, and this is a constant amplitude waveform, and this waveform is used for the oscillation. Okay, now we have seen the oscillatory circuit may be the LC tank circuit. Similarly, the oscillator circuit may be made up of the RC phase shift network. Let's see what is mean by RC phase shift oscillator or RC oscillator. Good frequency stability and waveform can be obtained from the oscillators employing resistive and capacitive elements. Such oscillators are called as RC or phase shift oscillator. That means the RC oscillators are also called as the phase shift oscillators. These oscillators have additional advantage of being used at a very low frequencies. That means whenever we want to design an oscillator for the low frequency, then we can use the oscillator with the RC combination. In phase shift oscillator, the phase shift of 180 degree is obtained with a phase shift circuit instead of inductive or capacitive coupling. A further phase shift of 180 degree is introduced due to the transistor properties. Thus, the energy supplied back to the tank circuit is of the correct phase. Here, the basic RC phase shift circuit is shown, in which we can see here that the capacitor and the resistor are connected in series with each other. A phase shift circuit consists of an RC network. This figure shows the single section of RC network. As we know that the alternating voltage V-1 across R leads the applied voltage V1 by phase angle phi 0. That means this V1 dash is led by this V1 by the phase angle phi degree. Okay, the value of phi, that means the value of phase angle, depends upon the value of this resistor R and the capacitor C. if the resistance R is varied, that means if we change the value of this resistance, then the value of phase angle, that means phi, is also changes. If R were reduced to 0, that means if we reduce the value of the R towards the 0, then the V dash 1, that means this voltage will lead V1 by 90 degree, that means we get, if we make the R equal to 0, then we get the phase angle accurately 90 degree. But adjusting R to 0 would be impracticable because it would lead no voltage across R. Therefore, in practice, R is varied to such value that makes V dash 1 to lead V1 by 60 degree. That means in that circuit we can see here that by changing the value of R, we can make a phase difference between V1 and V dash 1. That means if we make the value of R equal to 0, then we get V dash 1 equal to 90 degree. But it is practically impossible because if the resistor is absent, then there is no voltage drop across the output. Hence, this is impracticable. Hence, adjust the value of R such that we get V dash 1 is equal to the 60 degree phase shift. Okay, I hope you all understand this concept. Then each section, this is the circuit which gives us total 180 degree phase shift, because we know that here are adjusted, which gives phi or phase angle of 60 degree. This also gives the 60 degree, and this section is also gives the 60 degree. That means there is a total 180 degree phase shift. By using the combination of 3 RC circuit, we can get 180 degree phase shift. I hope you all understand the RC phase shift network concept. Now let's see our today's topic. What is Wein bridge oscillator? Wein bridge oscillator is an oscillator which uses RC network so as to produce sine wave at the output. That means this is known as the Wein bridge, in which we can see here that the R and C components are used here. Okay, there are two types of combinations of RC, which one is serial and one is parallel. Okay, these are basically low frequency oscillator that generates audio and sub audio frequency that ranges between 20 Hz to 20 kHz. A basic circuit of Wein bridge oscillator with amplifier stage is shown in figure below. This is the figure of Wein bridge oscillator, in which we can see here that this is the Wein bridge and here the amplifier stage is used. The amplifier stage may be made up of op amp, that means operational amplifier, or may be made up of the transistor amplifier. Okay, that means here we can use two types of amplifier, such that the op amp amplifier and the transistor as an amplifier. Let's see the description about this block diagram. Here the output of the amplifier is applied between the terminal 1 and 3. Here the output of this amplifier is applied to the terminal 1, that means this terminal 1, and this terminal 3, that means this. Okay, and the input of the amplifier stage is applied from the terminal 2 and 4. That means the terminal 2 and 4 gives input to the amplifier. That means the terminal 1 and terminal 3 connection is the feedback path. That means the output of the amplifier is given to this part. That means this is a feedback path. I hope you all understand the concept here. Hence, the amplifier output becomes input voltage of the bridge, while the output of the bridge becomes the input voltage of the amplifier. That means the amplifier output is the input of this bridge and the output of the bridge is the input of the amplifier. When the bridge is balanced, the input voltage to the amplifier becomes 0. So in order to produce sustained oscillations input, the amplifier must be non-vanishing. Therefore, the bridge is unbalanced by adjusting the proper values of resistors. That means if this bridge is balanced, then the input of the amplifier is 0. That causes the decaying decaying voltage, and if we want to sustain this voltage, then we have to change the values of these resistors. Okay, I hope you all understand the basic concept of Wien bridge oscillator here. Now in this Wien bridge oscillator there are two arms. One is series arm and second is parallel arm, in which the series arm calls as lag network, while the parallel arm known as the lead network. Let's see details about them. As we mentioned above, RC network is responsible for determining the frequency of the oscillator. This RC network consists of two frequency sensitive arms, namely series R1C1 and parallel R2C2. Okay, this network is also called as the lead lag network. Now, at very low frequencies, the output voltage becomes zero since the series capacitor behaves an open circuited. That means at low frequencies, this capacitor behaves as open circuited. Okay, also there is no output at very high frequencies since the parallel capacitor acts as short circuited here the path to the input voltage. Therefore, in between two extreme conditions, the output voltage reach the maximum value. That means during the low frequencies, this capacitor is open circuited, and during high frequencies this capacitor is short circuited. Therefore, in between these two conditions, the output voltage, that means this voltage, is reached at the maximum value. I hope you all understand. Let's see once again. When during the low frequencies this capacitor acts as the open circuit, that means there is no connection between here, and during the high frequencies this capacitor acts as the short circuited, that means the direct connection here. During these two conditions, this V out has the maximum value. Okay. Now, the resonant frequency is the frequency at which the output voltage is maximum. That means the whatever frequency or the frequency at which we get the maximum voltage, this frequency is known as the resonant frequency. At this frequency, the feedback fraction K reaches as maximum value of 1 divided by 3. The feedback will be maximum when Xc equal to R, and hence Xc stands for the reactance, and hence the resonant frequency is given by F is equal to 1 divided by 1 upon 2 pi Rc. This is the standard formula for the frequency. The above figure indicates the output voltage at the resonant frequency. At the resonant frequency, the phase shift through the circuit is 0 and attenuation V1 upon V0 is 1 upon 3. That means the phase shift is 0 and V1 upon V0 is 1 upon 3. Therefore, in order to maintain the oscillation, the amplifier must have gain greater than 3. The difference between the different frequency ranges can be provided by the Wien bridge oscillator by mounting two capacitors on the shaft and by varying their values simultaneously. Hence, to obtain the different frequencies, here the two capacitors are connected, and by varying their values we can obtain the different types of frequencies. Okay, now let's see the Wien bridge oscillator by using op-amp. This is the op-amp. Op-amp stands for the operational amplifier, and this is used as the operational amplifier as an non-inverting amplifier. That means whatever is the input phase, the output phase is similar to the input phase. This is called as the non-inverting amplifier. Now let's see the details about this diagram. The output of the op-amp is connected as the input of the bridge. Here the output of the op-amp is connected as the input of the bridge at point A and C, while the output of the bridge, that means the point B and D, are connected to the input of the op-amp. Okay. A portion of amplifier output is feedback through the voltage divider network, that means a series combination of resistor and capacitor. to the positive or non-inverting terminal of the amplifier. Okay. Now, the Wien bridge oscillator works as the sine wave generator whose frequency of oscillations is determined by R and C components. The gain of the operational amplifier is expressed as A equal to 1 plus RF upon R1. This is the gain of the inverting type of non-inverting type of amplifier, which is 1 plus RF upon R1. That means this gain is depends upon the feedback resistor value and the input resistor value. Okay, as we discussed above, that the gain of the non-inverting amplifier must be minimum 3 to satisfy the Bark-Hussein criteria. I hope you all understand or you all remember the Bark-Hussein criteria. The Bark-Hussein criteria states that for any circuit to be performed as an oscillator, it may be satisfy the two conditions. The two conditions are the total phase shift during the entire loop may be 0 degree or 360 degree. Okay, and the product of the gain and the feedback fraction should be 1. These are the two conditions. Okay, therefore here we get the gain 1 plus Rf upon R1 greater than or equal to 3. That means Rf upon R1 is equal to 2. That means this one is minus here and we get 2 here. Therefore the ratio of the resistances Rf upon R1 must be equal to or greater than 2. Okay, the frequency of the oscillation is given by f is equal to 1 upon 2 pi rc. This is the Wien bridge oscillator by using op amp. By using transistor we can also design the Wien bridge oscillator. Here this part is similar to the Wien bridge oscillator by using op amp. This is the Wien bridge. Okay, and here the transistor as an amplifier is used. This is stage first and this is stage second. I hope you all remember the concept of the transistor as an amplifier. Here these two stages are identical with each other. This is stage 1 and this is stage 2 and this is the Wien bridge. Okay, here the output of the second amplifier is given to the input of the Wien bridge. Okay, and the output of the Wien bridge is connected as the input of the stage first, that means the amplifier. I hope you all understand this diagram here. Now let's see the advantages of Wien bridge oscillator. Because of the uses of the two-stage amplifier, the overall gain of the oscillator is high. By varying the values of C1 and C2 or with use of variable resistors, the frequency of oscillations can be varied. It produces very good sine wave with less distortion. The frequency stability is good due to the absence of inductors. No interference occurs from the external magnetic field. These are the advantages of Wien bridge oscillator. Let's see disadvantages of Wien bridge oscillators. The first one is more number of components is needed for two-stage amplifier, and second one is very high frequencies cannot be generated. These are the disadvantages of Wien bridge oscillator. I hope you all understand the concept of Wien bridge oscillator. Thank you.